How's it going, YouTube? I'm doing something a bit different today. I'm going to nip out and see Rob. We did the dyno on his TVR a bit ago. He's had a few problems with the TVR since then. He's also just finished a project. He's been doing this project for 5 years. I think it's something special. It's something to be appreciated. Let's go and have a look, shall we? Right, Rob, before we talk about this Sierra, what's going on with the TVR?
It's broken. Number 3 piston's broke. So that engine's off to V8 developments to be rebuilt. So while that one's away...
You thought you'd finish the Sierra?
Thought we'd finish the Sierra.
So how long have you been doing it now?
5 years. It was the last time it was on the road. So from when it was stripped to when it's been 98% complete to where it is now, has taken me best part of 5 years on and off.
Let's go and have a look at it, shall we? We don't want to get too close, else people will think we're dogging or something here, won't they?
In this setting, probably.
Yeah.
It's a 1984 Sierra xr4i that's been given the turbo technics treatment. I've had it since 1997. As you can see, it's been pretty much loved and improved.
Well, what we'll do is we'll overlay a few photos of the restoration, just a couple, just to show what it's been through.
Yeah, well, I nearly sold it just before we took it all apart. In fact, I put it on eBay and I did sell it. I sold it to a chap in New Zealand who wasn't best pleased when I pulled out of the deal. But
Yeah, I bet it wasn't.
I've had it for so long, and it was a case of, well, if I'm going to keep it, I'm going to do it properly. So the strip down commenced, as you'll see from some of the pictures. It needed 2 new doors, inner and outer, near side rear wheel arch. Other than that, the body and the tub was all pretty good.
Yeah.
No problem at all. The engine was built about 6 or 7 years ago, so not too far behind, and it's already got an XR4x4 back axle, limit slip disc brakes on the back end.
And we have to agree these are the father to the Cosworth, aren't they?
Yeah, it was probably the first hot Sierra, if you like, certainly over here.
Yeah,
with a 2.8 litre. And I like the 2.8 engine. A lot of people take the engine out and fit a 24 valve, and which is a good engine, but I like the 2.8 Cologne, the engine they're supposed to have.
Yeah, and then this one's quiet as well. It's nice, isn't it? It's running lovely.
Yeah, and with the turbo, it gives it just a nice. It's only running half a bar of boost, nothing silly, but it's enough to make it interesting. It did an article with Fast Forward magazine back in 2005, I think it was, where it on a tired engine before the engine was rebuilt, it put down a 0 to 60 time of 6.3 seconds, which
is not sad, is it? Really?
No,
not sad at all.
Not at all.
In those days, you had to really spend big money to get that sort of times.
Indeed, yeah. But it was a bit smoky. It was rattly. Quarter mile time was 15 seconds. I think it topped out at the end of the runway 130. I just love the look. I love the lines.
Yeah,
I like the way the car sits on the road.
Well, let's go and have a look at the engine, shall we?
Let's do it. It's the original 2.8 litre Cologne that it was born with. As you can see, it now has a Garrett T3 turbocharger, which sits down here on the near side bank. So the engine was fully rebuilt about 6 or 7 years ago. Crank, pistons, everything, heads converted to unleaded. The car didn't have power steering from new. This is something that I've added as I've got older. It was bits raided from a 2.8 Capri and various different other things, but it now has power steering as well, which did introduce its own problems. Obviously all the intake for the turbo had to be moved around, which interfered with the airbox. So as you can see, I've had to modify the airbox here to allow for the room. The turbo itself was a kit that I purchased from an xr4i. It was advertised as a complete kit. They never are. The intercooler was wrong, the pipework had basically had it. So all of this basically is homemade, just made up from Samco hoses, as you can see, stainless steel tube with a bracket welded on for the dump valve. It's got a nose mounted intercooler which sits down in the front. Again, this is a universal cooler. It wasn't one specifically used for the car because at the time I couldn't get one. Some of the other cars, they run with a profile block in here to give the correct fueling when the engine's on boost. I didn't have one of those, so what I did is I had a modified warm-up regulator. This was modified by KMI in Fulham, and basically it's got an adjustment screw on the bottom where you adjust it to make sure that the fueling's correct on boost. It's a much better way of doing the job. Other than that, the rest of the engine is pretty much stock.
Perfect. I reckon what we'll do now is we'll take a few photos, we'll get the drone out, have a play with the drone, and then we'll have a bit of a drive round. Well, thanks for that, Rob. That's a lovely car. Really nice. Do you think we've got a bit of a red theme going on my channel?
I think so.
Especially after Spencer's MR2 last week as well. Well,
perhaps we'll have to get them all together.
Yeah, I reckon we should. Right, hopefully we'll have a TVR back soon with 8 cylinders, yeah?
And a lot more boost.
Yeah, that should be something nice. That should be something special. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more, and I'll see you again in the next video.